and welcome to Weekends with Whitney. Joining us on today's show, LSU's only Heisman Trophy winner, Billy Cannon. The legend talks candidly about his time on the field, his time in prison, and what young people need to learn from his mistakes. And meet a little girl who will steal your heart.
This is how we do it.
Daisy has a rare life-threatening disease. Her quest for a cure has inspired everyone from LSU coach Les Miles to sports teams. I'll show you a fun way you can help too. And on this All Saints Day, we take you to one of Baton Rouge's oldest cemeteries, how volunteers are giving it new life and saving a valuable piece of history. Then Dr. Nick shares the 4 agreements essential to personal peace and freedom. But first, it was 56 years ago this morning that LSU fans were waking up, still reeling, still cheering, still excited about the one play that is one of the best in college football. They saw it, the Halloween night punt return of legendary Billy Cannon. Well, I got to sit down with the legend himself recently. We talked about his career, his time in prison, and redemption. At 78 years old, Billy Cannon's legendary punt return against Ole Miss Halloween night 1959 is still considered by many college football historians as the greatest play ever. But he says it wasn't his greatest moment. So what was your peak?
Probably next week.
I love that you think it hasn't happened
Oh
yet.
no, I got miles on me, but I'm still chugging.
Miles that have taken him from the pros to prison. Few people have risen so high and fallen so low. What was the valley?
Obviously, the
prison.
counterfeiting, going to prison.
Was it the counterfeiting or was it the prison? Was it the crime or was it
both,
the punishment?
Both, because I can't split them. And just the stupidity of me doing that.
Despite playing pro football 11 years and having a thriving orthodontic practice, Dr. Cannon had big money problems. Not due to gambling like the press reported, but real estate.
I got locked into a situation. I had bought a lot of raw land, and I had overbought. And of course, banks had started collapsing. The economy took a nosedive. And John Stiglitz came, this is the way out. And I fought it off until I knew the banks were going to come. And I yielded, and he printed it, and he was supposed to handle it. But he didn't handle it very well.
Nearly 30 federal investigators descended on Baton Rouge and followed Dr. Cannon for months. When they finally arrested him, he confessed.
When something like that happens in your career, you find out who your friends are.
He spent 3 years in federal prison for the counterfeiting scheme. After getting out, the sports legend was shunned by most. He almost withdrew too. Then one day, he went back to prison, voluntarily, to work at Angola. He thought he'd stay a year. It's now been 20. He reformed the entire prison medical program, as Warden Burl Cain was improving the rest.
Being part of his team to help change it has been rewarding, been fun.
Having lived on both sides of the razor wire, Dr. Cannon and the inmates relate. There are a lot of interesting stories there.
Oh, there's some great stories.
I bet you've heard them.
Well, you know, the one I hear the most is, Doc, when I went out that night, I didn't plan to kill anybody. But we got in an argument, and he drew his gun, and I drew mine. He's dead, and I'd just soon be dead because I'm here the rest of my life. I can understand how a man will put himself in that position. I said, now, to where one night, one day, one event can make you be locked up for the rest of your life.
For decades, publishers, writers, and fans have begged him to write a book. Now he has with the help of a trusted author, Charles de Gravel. What's your takeaway?
Really broadly, people are complicated. People are complicated. When he was everybody's hero, they really didn't know him. And when he was everybody's down in the gutter guy that they were kicking on him, nobody really knew him. Now they can know who he is.
He's a hero who fell from grace, but rose to find redemption. If you'd like a copy of his book, you can contact LSU Press. You can go to Barnes & Noble or Amazon.com. And still to come as Weekends with Whitney continues. On this All Saints Day, how volunteers are saving a local treasure. And Dr. Nick shares 4 agreements essential to personal freedom and peace. And the little girl fighting big odds.
Hi, I'm Daisy. Find out why I am on Weekends with Whitney right after this.
Maggio, the only way to go. Maggio Buick GMC, your satisfaction's our specialty. We really deliver on Falls River, here in New Roads. Small town atmosphere, legendary service for over 60 years. Maggio, the only way to go. The only way to go, that's Maggio.
Hi, I'm Drew Detlitz, and welcome to Camp Bow Wow.
We are Baton Rouge's premier doggy day camp, daycare, and behavioral training facility. Spanning over 14,000 square feet, your dog has plenty of room to play. We have covered yards that'll protect your dog from the sun and rain. We have a state-of-the-art HD monitoring system so you can watch your dog throughout the day. And don't forget, we also offer luxury suites.
So, stop in for a tour today and schedule your interview and get your first day free. This is Camp Bow Wow, where a dog can truly be a dog.
Welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. You're about to meet a little girl facing big obstacles. She has a rare, incurable disease, but that's not stopping her from finding a cure or anything else.
I snorted in front of the camera.
Daisy is blooming with personality. This 6-year-old even knew what to do in a TV interview.
Speaking to you and not looking at the camera.
Yeah, that's exactly how we do it. Yeah, that's how we do it.
This
Okay.
is how we do it.
I struggled with a delicate way to ask about her disease. Silly me. Tell me, okay.
A little about myself.
Please.
Okay. So I have this special disease, dermatomyositis.
It's a big word.
I know, and I can say it all by myself.
So you're that smart.
I know.
So tell me what this disease does.
It infects my skin and muscles, but I'm still strong.
Daisy's strength keeps her mom, Kristen, going. It's been a difficult road. Daisy was sick a lot from age 1 to 3. Doctors didn't know why until a big clue emerged.
And she got these warts on her fingers, but my husband said that they weren't warts, and so we took her to the dermatologist. And when we saw him, he asked me a bunch of questions and looked at her hands and said, it looks like Gotran papules, which is only present in dermatomyositis. And that was the first time I'd ever even heard the term. So, and she was 3.
Odds of getting it are 1 in a million. And only one doctor in the country treats children as young as Daisy. She's in Chicago.
Called her within those days saying, what do we have to do? And then just 2 weeks later, she wanted to see us, and we drove a motorhome. My parents and me and Daisy got in my mom's motorhome, and my dad drove it in a blizzard. It was like the first blizzard that, like in years, whatever, the worst one they've ever seen, to get to Chicago. And we ended up having to stay there for over a week because she started treatment immediately.
Treatment involves a lot of powerful medicine for this little girl.
Started oral and IV pulse steroid treatment immediately. And she continued the oral prednisone, which she's still on for 2.5 years, and methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy drug. She did that for a year.
But this is what Daisy remembers most about Chicago.
I love the winter time when we go. And guess what?
It snowed.
and I got to make a snow angel for the first time. And I was like, and then I was like, can somebody help me up?
There have been a lot of ups and downs. Since there's no cure for her autoimmune disease, medicines often change and taste bad.
It feels like I'm eating dog food.
Oh.
That is disgusting.
In June, Daisy started new IVG treatments through her port every 28 days at Our Lady of the Lake.
So it gives the immune system a boost. IVIG has opened up our entire relationship to Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital, which is a huge part of our life now.
The staff fell in love with Daisy so much, they asked her to do their Fiesta video this year.
My life is really special because I have JDM. It means I have juvenile dermatomyositis. It means that I have an autoimmune disease. Well, sometimes it makes me frustrated.
Frustrated because she has to avoid the sun, and kindergarten is cut short.
Yes, like I have to go home, not when they had to go home, like they stay at school all day, and I don't get to stay there all day.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's kind of a bad thing to me, but it's a good thing to my mom and the doctors.
Just can't take it, and right now she's not doing well. So she's tired, and she doesn't like to show that. So I know that when she goes to school, she is literally going to give them everything she has at school and come home and be a puddle.
They need a cure. So they're on a mission to help the JM Foundation raise $400,000 for research.
We have no governmental funding. We have no huge telethon on TV with, glitzy Hollywood stars. It is me and a bunch of other mommies just scraping and begging and working and getting every single dollar to do what we can do. We have raised...
And cured their children.
Yes.
In 2 weeks, there's a fashion show fundraiser, Dressing for Daisy. It's fashion and more.
Well, there will be face painting, princesses, and superheroes. It's a fashion show fundraiser for Cure JM. That is a princess.
Daisy's fashion show fundraiser is Sunday, November the 8th, 2 p.m. at the LSU Union. If you'd like tickets, go to curefordaisy.com. And still to come as Weekends with Whitney continues. Broken tombs, even exposed and stolen bones. How these people are giving dignity back to the dead and saving history. Then, don't take it personal. It's one of 4 agreements Dr. Nick shares for a better life right after this.
Go Roof is proud to serve the Baton Rouge and surrounding areas with our years of experience and quality service. We want more than just your roofing needs. Go Roof cares about the client and wants you to be our customer for life. Roof replacement, repair, vents, and more. Go Roof will get it done. We have excellent standing relationships with all the top insurance companies, so making your claim is fast and easy. A beautiful roof every single time at Go Roof. Call now for a free estimate.
Welcome back to Weekends with Whitney. Well, last night you may have seen some creepy Halloween decorations like broken tombstones and human bones. But in one Baton Rouge cemetery, those creepy things are real. Some of Baton Rouge's earliest residents are buried here at the Lutheran Cemetery in Old South Baton Rouge between City Park and Brooks Park. Time has not been kind to many of them. Some tombs are broken so badly you can see inside of them. Bones have been exposed and some reportedly even stolen. Some tombs here date back to the 1800s. They may be old, but they're not forgotten. Twice a year, volunteers tend to this cemetery as if their loved ones are buried here. Strangers like Kiana Linnell show their love by trimming, weeding, and clearing this 8-acre cemetery.
just amazing to have so many people pitching in to help keep this place viewable and transpassable for people who are trying to come view their family and the history of Baton Rouge.
For centuries, on November 1st, All Saints Day, Louisiana families have gathered to clean, lime wash, and adorn with flowers the graves of their ancestors. It was socially shameful for any family to let graves go in disrepair. But it happens as families move away or even die off. Heat, moisture, vegetation, and falling tree limbs all take their toll on grave sites. Kiana brought her daughters here to teach them life is fleeting.
To let them see graves of people that were born in 1720s or people who were 20 years old and they're like, oh, I'm sad. They were only 20, and it's like, yeah, you have to take every moment that you have and every day and push forward for whatever you're dreaming.
Volunteer Kenny Kleinpeter says cemeteries tell a story about the dead and the living.
Ben Franklin said, show me your cemeteries and I'll tell you what kind of people you are, and that's exactly what you find here.
If you'd like to help or volunteer, they'll be having another cleanup day in the spring. Contact Friends of City Park for more information. And right now, Dr. Nick.
You know a good book when you open it and either you or the person it belongs to has highlight. Look at this. This is Dr. Nick's book. He joins us this morning.
Book is in yellow.
With Personal Freedom, the 4 Agreements.
4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz, 1997. It's got a companion.
Oh, so you can...
So you can have a book study.
Oh, that's great.
You can have a group.
Because a lot of people have book clubs, and how fun to get to talk about not just characters in a book, but yourself.
Yes.
And get closer and learn more about each other.
It's basic life skills that I'm reminding myself of every day. The first one, be impeccable with your word.
Be impeccable with your word.
And we'll come back to it.
Okay.
Do not make assumptions.
Oh, that's
Do not take things personally and always do your best. Do you realize how easy those are to memorize? You got them already. Be impeccable with your word. Don't make assumptions. Don't take things personally and always do your best.
If we just
so you've
all
got
did
2
those 4
do's
things.
and 2 don'ts.
Uh-huh.
And that's, you look at that across the board, those are strong mental behavioral life skills, and they're spiritual.
They are.
Impeccable with your word, integrity.
Absolutely. Well, and then you, Dr. Nick shared that he even keeps these on his bathroom mirror.
I do.
And you are so well studied in everything about human behavior and psychology, and that even this to you is powerful and a great reminder. Is interesting.
Okay, but Whitney, why is it a reminder? It's a reminder because we're human, and because we have a propensity not to be impeccable. When he says be impeccable, he's saying do not speak against yourself. Now we're into negative self. Do not speak against yourself and do not gossip about others. That's hard. That's a struggle for me. I have to catch myself when I want to put myself down for something that's happened.
And why is that so human nature, even for you, and certainly for me, for all of us, that we do something bad and we go, oh, Whitney, why'd you do that again? Come on. Can't you be on time? That would be mine.
It is genuinely just being human. I can't stress it enough. And it's not an adequate answer for a lot of people, but it is what we are. We are creatures. We are limited. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to sin, which means to miss the mark. We're going to do things that we feel bad for. We're insecure. We have fear. The primitive brain can take over.
Yes.
But there is a higher self that can be habituated, right?
Okay, right.
So there you say, why do you keep doing it? Because I want to create that habit to not make assumptions and get clear.
Yeah, let's talk about assumptions, because I think those are really, really easy to make. You can misread a situation, a conversation, an email, a text, a Facebook post. I mean, we could, the list goes on and on. So what do we really need to do? Stop and, certainly if we're one-on-one with someone, ask for clarity? Like, I don't know if I understood that.
Perfect. Clarity. Whitney, when you say anything that sounds like I'm not sure I've got it, all I need to do is say, Whitney, let me get clarity on that. I'm not sure I'm clear. Because one of the things you might say is, well, you know, Dr. Nick, we're not going to be able to do your show this week. And I'm going to immediately go to, oh, she doesn't like me. I'm not going to ever be on there again. She's found somebody else. What would be better?
Oh.
Could you clarify what's going on? And then you say, oh, well, I've got this, and now I am fine. I've gotten clarity.
But if you just hung up the phone and said, okay, you would spend the rest of the week worried.
Because I'm not clear. And it's not that it's your necessary fault that it's not clear. I, the receiver, need to ask for clarity. And if you think about it, how important is it for the sender to be able to say, yeah, let me clarify that?
Okay,
because don't you say things sometimes that you really don't mean to say?
Right.
And you're saying, let me clarify that?
Well, how many times have, it certainly happened to me, I've been in my boss's office and you're going over something, or it could be good or bad or whatever, and I don't speak up because I think I know what they're saying, but is that what they're really saying? And then if they're one of those people that kind of is a little passive aggressive or beats around the bush, I've walked out of there more confused than ever. And why? I'm afraid of saying I don't quite understand and I'm comfortable with my assumptions, which could be completely wrong.
Yes, and I would venture to say that what happens is the emotional primitive brain takes over.
Oh yes. And
it's the fight or flight. Instead of holding the emotions down and say, I'm not clear.
Boy, that's a challenge for all of us, right? Do it.
Whitney, it is a challenge, but it's really not that hard to get it up here that I need to get clarity.
Yeah, right.
And that's why texting and emails are hard, because you can get clarity when you're one-on-one. You can get clarification. That's not what I'm saying. Someone might say, you know, I've got a problem with alcohol, therefore I need to leave. And the wife immediately thinks it's because of me. And so she needs to get clarity, hopefully with my help, that no, this is not about you, this is my problem. And then she's able to calm down. It's clarification. Yes, I know I'm pushing it, but I think
different situations.
Whitney,
I understand.
We forget. We think that we're all speaking the English language. We're all speaking our own language.
Oh.
You have a Whitney language, I have a Nikki language, Kim has a Kim. We speak our language, the language that we interpret through and see the world through. God, that was strong. We need to do a whole segment on that. Well, don't you believe it?
I do
when you
now.
think about it. When you and Reed are having a conflict, or you and Robert or Chad, you realize that you may be on different levels.
Right.
You may be different languages going.
Yeah, we express things differently, and you're right.
But it's not a
Horrible
downer,
thing. No.
horrible. It's just being aware that, wow, that's a language, that's yours.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
And
Sorry
then,
to carry on about that.
Oh, no, that's important. But
the
this
other one was...
Don't take anything
Personally,
personally.
well, yeah, we don't need to say anything about that.
Okay, just, it's not always about you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is, but...
Well, but I've said before, and I'll say it again, when I start getting into personalizing, it's really a big ego trip. I don't have that much power over people. And so when I tell myself, this really is not about me, this is about that person and their history. Now, I may have had some part of it. I may, and that's where the discernment comes in.
Sure.
But Whitney, we really do take things entirely too personally in our culture.
We do.
We do.
We do.
It's a great reminder.
Yeah. Well, I'm just tickled that you brought this to our attention today. The 4 agreements to personal freedom. And again, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best.
And very quickly, that always do your best is going to change. Because if you're sick, or if you're starting a new job, or if you're building a new relationship, your best is going to change.
So
I love that. It doesn't say that it's random, you know, but it does have a context to it.
Yes.
I'm not my best when I'm sick.
I know.
Nobody is. It's a perfect example. I'm just not. And and there's where clarification comes through, Whitney. You say to your children, you know, I'm not feeling my best this morning, so if I get grumpy, please forgive me. I'm just not my best.
And if breakfast tastes terrible.
or this is the best I can come up with oatmeal because I'm just really not feeling it. Or oatmeal.
Sure. But
I know
putting
you feed them well.
Too much sometimes, but putting forth your best, whatever effort that entails at the time, and whatever you can do is important.
Great. The 4 agreements. Thank you.
Let's go into this new week ahead and nail them all.
Nail them all. Put them on the bathroom mirror.
Or do it the best we can.
And do it the best we can. Good answer. Bye, everybody.
Much more Weekends with Whitney right after this. Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees.
Thanks for starting your Sunday with us here on Weekends with Whitney. Whatever you do, do not miss next week's show. Oh, it's one of my favorites. For one thing, we get to monkey around. Literally. You can say it too. Who is this guy and what is he doing at the rodeo? We'll explain. It's just part of my behind-the-scenes story of the world-famous Angola Rodeo. Woo! You'll hear from inmate cowboys on why they do this. It's more than glory up for grabs. It's big money for the inmates, too. And how in the world do you fry Coke? Well, they do it here.
We eat Coca-Cola.
And we'll show you that, too. Until then, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or head to my website, weekendswithwhitney.net, to share one of your story ideas, or to find out more on this or any of our other 54 shows. Wishing you a joyful, peaceful Sunday. This morning, we leave you with a piece of Louisiana.
Atlas Foundation Repair, fixing your foundation problems for more than 30 years while preserving and protecting your trees.